From Tierney Field at USA Lacrosse headquarters in Sparks, Maryland, today a top 25 showdown as the number 3 James Madison Dukes battle the number 24 UCONN Huskies. Glenn Clark alongside the coach, Jesse Morgan. Jesse, this is a Madison team that had high expectations coming into the season, but after beginning the year with wins over Carolina and Virginia Tech, I think we got to talk about them squarely being right back in the conversation to try to win another national championship.
I think a number 3 ranking is perfect for them. I think they showed a lot of poise and leadership, senior leadership, young players really coming in and making an impact early. They're a team to beat this year for sure.
Ironically, I think coming into the season, a lot of people were talking about how much they were missing defensively from a year ago. And not to take anything away from what they've done defensively so far, but the answer might be, well, just score more goals, right?
For sure. Sometimes offense is an excellent defense. As long as the other team doesn't have the ball, they cannot score. 36
goals to their first 2 games of the season. Meanwhile, a disappointing start to the year for UConn as they fell at Fairfield on Wednesday. They do have, as you see, a veteran goalie in Landon White, number 15, and she just became the program's all-time leader in career saves on Wednesday. Goes a long way knowing you've got that stalwart on the back end.
They have a lot of talent all over the field. I think that game was a massive hiccup for them, but a learning lesson. I don't think they're going to make the same mistakes and hopefully try to lessen some of those turnovers that occurred in the midfield against that Fairfield team.
Maddie Epke out for the opening draw. She'll work against Madeline George. Madison in the white shirts with the purple numerals. UConn the dark blue shirts and the white numerals. Dukes will be moving right to left on your internet dial. Huskies from left to right. Great to have you with us. Snowy, breezy day in Baltimore. The snow has stopped. It's now sunny, actually.
It's beautiful. I mean, for it to be a blizzard last night and a beautiful sunny day today, welcome to spring, everybody.
Incredible job of clearing the field from the folks here at USA Lacrosse. And it'll be Madison with the ball first, going on the attack. And not wanting to run that, Maddie Epke wanted to keep that going. She gets inside, and Maddie Epke does waste no time whatsoever getting the Dukes on the board.
And they're going to look for her to make an impact early. I think we all know number 17, Bella's out there, and UConn's going to try to face guard her early, but that means it leaves Maddie wide open to really take her opportunities.
First goal of the day, 8th of the season for Maddie Epke. We had heard some rumors that maybe she had been a little under the weather this week. I think she's just fine, Jesse.
Yeah, I think they were a little concerned that she was under the weather throughout the week and maybe didn't have as many reps in practice, but, you know, when you're a player like her, it's game day, you're ready to go.
Scored all 7 of her goals before today in that win over Carolina to open the season. She was named the IWLCA Offensive D1 Player of the Week, as well as the USA Lacrosse D1 Player of the Week and the AAC Attack Player of the Week.
Well deserved. You score 7 goals against Carolina. You deserve all those accolades. So good for her, and she's probably going to try to light it up again today.
Madison off to a quick start, wasting no time getting on the board. Not even a minute gone by, and they'll have the ball once again. Taylor Marchetti, however, will slow it down this time. Oh, no, they'll come back because of the whistle.
2 quick wins off the draw. The draw is the most impactful thing in the women's game. I mean, it gains your possession. It controls the game for you. So JMU coming out early and winning those 2 early draws is a huge indicator for today.
Jesse, walk me through what you're most interested to see from these 2 teams.
I'd like to see JMU score from different places on the field. I mean, they have attackers from the top that can score and drive, but can you assist? When the double comes, are you able to really distribute the ball? And for UConn, obviously just gaining possessions, making saves, getting the draw, taking care of the ball.
And Madison picks up where they left off. Taylor Marchetti off that quick feed. Marchetti with her first of the day to make it 2-0 Dukes. Let's watch it one more time. 2 defenders. You can't, you know, I get it. You want to pay attention to the ball handler, but
2-man game is tough. I mean, it forces the defenders to make a decision. Do I go with the ball? Do I stay with my girl? And that 1 split second of indecision is enough for a great team to score. Marchetti
had a hat trick as well against North Carolina last Saturday. She gets her first of the day and her 4th of the season. To make it 2-0 Madison and still not even a minute gone by. I don't, you know, I didn't study math, Jesse, admittedly. Like, it wasn't my strength. but I believe that 2 goals per minute would put you on pace to score 120 during the course of a game.
Let's not hope for that today. That'd be a little aggressive, but JMU is definitely, whatever they practice in practice, they're executing today early in the game.
And right now, UConn, they just needed a possession, and they do end up coming away with it. So an opportunity. You would think they'd want to slow things down.
And that might not necessarily be their MO, you know. I think they have lots of fast players. They want to play quickly, but you want to play smart. So retaining the ball, keeping possession of it is important against a strong team like JMU.
Huskies have made 3 straight trips to the NCAA tournament, falling in the first round to Penn a year ago after dropping the Big East Championship game to Denver. Trying to get started early. Boy, big-time stop. UConn will maintain possession after Abby Sharon was denied. And that shot low. Was there a whistle before? Looks like there was. Officials now talking about it. And a prolonged conversation that needs to be had. I assumed it was just going to be a shooting space violation at first, but
sometimes they're offsetting calls. Sometimes there's multiple fouls occurring in one whistle, so they have to make sure that they're placing the ball at the right spot for the foul, and this one might be going behind at the dot. So there are 2 dots behind the cage that if a foul occurs kind of out towards that crease area, that's where they'd reset the ball.
Huskies fortunate as the pass was nearly thrown away, and then the shot just wide from Rhea Davis.
And I know Coach said that Rhea was going to have a big day today. She's a lefty. She's quick. She gets her hands free and can get the goal pretty well.
Force inside. Huskies fortunate to get it back. Possession continues. 30 seconds still on the possession clock. Not going to be able to come away with anything.
Defensively, I think one of the special parts of JMU's defense is how quickly they get the ball out. You saw that ball turned over, and it's already down in their offensive end. They're very fast, they transition quickly, and that's really hard to stop.
We haven't even brought up yet the name Bella Peterson today. I hear she's good.
I mean, we're definitely going to speak on her today, and she should be a huge focus for UConn. You know, she has a bullseye on her because she does so much for JMU.
Named to the Tewaaraton Award watch list last night after being a finalist a year ago. A couple of fakes from Maddie Epke trying to get free to her left. Doesn't like what she sees. Content to send it back behind, keep possession going. Obviously no reason to force anything.
There's a wide open player. So
in traffic.
Yeah, UConn not numbering up, not finding their players, and JMU was able to find the open girl right in the middle of the 8.
Taylor Marchetti just redirecting that pass into the net for her 2nd goal of the day. Extends the Dukes lead to 3-0. There were like 3 blue shirts right on top of Taylor Marchetti. She didn't mind. It's all instinct right there.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have a window of opportunity, great players that practice their stick work constantly can really make a lot happen. So she doesn't need a lot of time and space. She had that small window, and she executes.
So, Jesse, walk me through this as a coach.
Yeah.
The result, obviously, is very good. Is it the decision, the right decision? When you get back to the sideline, is it, hey, well done, or is it, maybe we don't want to throw that into that much traffic all the time?
I think you practice it that way.
Okay.
I think once you practice catching in small windows, you practice catching and throwing under pressure, and then it doesn't seem so small risk reward. So they practice that. I'm sure they get tons of practice from their defensive unit, and they're able to execute, and that's what good teams do.
UConn gets it back, really needing a goal. Got to start feeling their way into this one. Not putting themselves in such a deep hole against such a talented team. Great ground ball pickup from LaFountain there to continue the possession. Fed to the middle. Again, fortunate. They had the right player behind. Moving through, shooting low. Ooh, whistle first. Rhea Davis had a good look.
Great patience. I love that she faked before she shot. You know, she had time, and you want to take that time. On this 8-meter, might not be as lucky. She's at a pretty tough angle.
Let's see, looking to her left. Davis winding up. Well, we see so much more of that in the college game than we did 4 or 5 years ago even, right? I feel like it's the Charlotte North effect, isn't it?
And Charlotte North honestly could do anything. She can get inside. She can shoot from the outside. If you're not the fastest player in the world and you can generate enough power, the outside shot works for you. But a higher percentage shot would be to run in, take the bump, take the hit, get in, get a good angle, and move the goal.
So UConn not able to convert that free position opportunity. And an empty possession for the Huskies. We've had the ball twice, not been able to come away with a goal. Also, I know that it didn't end the possession because of the free position that was awarded, but for Bowden, just making the save, that goes a long way. Even if they don't technically count, right, it feels like just making a save in that spot helps your confidence going into a day.
Correct, and she should already have a lot of confidence. I think they had a shutout in the first quarter of the Virginia Tech game, so she starts hot, and she wants to continue to build on those saves throughout the game.
Maddie Epke did not force the issue, kept the possession going for the Dukes. Boy, this is good textbook lacrosse, but White with an outstanding save.
And that's where UConn's going to have to start, making good decisions, making stops, transitioning the ball, and just taking their opportunities as they come. I don't think they've, done terribly on the offensive end, but they do need to score in this possession.
Landon White, a year ago when these teams got together, made 20 saves against the Dukes. She had 13 on Wednesday. First team all Big East performer and Big East goalkeeper of the year a year ago. And as we mentioned, over 600 career saves. Movement inside. Not on target, however, as Bowman was trying to put it home. Ground ball. Did that go over the red line? It did.
Great for UConn. They're fighting. They're scrapping after these balls. They're getting second chance opportunities, and that's going to be the most important part. You get a shot, you want to get that offensive rebound, kind of like in basketball. If you get multiple opportunities, you have enough skill to score.
Stay down here, and again, Davis will get that opportunity from the 8-meter. Do you think she'll fire it from there again?
Yes, I do. I think she's going to shoot it from there.
Davis, you see that wind up. Redshirt sophomore from Henrietta, New York. She can get some power behind that shot.
Yeah, but you saw how quickly that defender read the whistle. Defenders, you're not necessarily looking at the attacker that's shooting. You want to read the official because they're the start of the ball. So that defender got in really quickly. I think defensively, JMU is looking really sharp. On
top of everything else, another save from Caitlin Bowden, the sophomore from Merrick, New York. First year as the starter, stepping into big shoes, getting the job done early on. Ball still being contested. Huskies get it back. Good job by Sharon to pick up the ground ball and ahead to Davis. Davis gets UConn on the board.
I mean, she had to score that one. Wide open. She's really working that right side of that cage, and she has a great hard shot, and she made it count.
Rhea Davis, her first of the day, her 5th of the season. Much needed goal for the Huskies as everything was going the way of the Dukes in the early going of this one. They needed that to stem the tide.
Yes, and it's their play between the 30s. I know last week or the week before, the refs have been having a hard time kind of managing those green cards, but teams are still able to pressure between the 30s, and that's where good teams get the ball back.
So UConn on the board, that Rhea Davis goal, 8:39 to play in the first quarter. They cut the lead to 3-1. This is the 11th meeting all time between James Madison and UConn. Madison has won 8 of the first 10, including the last 7 in the series a year ago, an 11-7 victory right here at USA Lacrosse. That was actually a very close game a year ago. Going into the fourth quarter, it was 6-4. And then a 5-0 run early in the fourth quarter allowed Madison to pull away in that one.
Well, although UConn's ranked 24th and JMU's ranked 3rd, JMU knows UConn is not going away. They're a team. They're well coached. They're going to scrap after the ball. So this isn't going to be just a rollover win for JMU. They're going to have to earn it.
It's an unfortunate turnover. You had some momentum going. It's kind of a sloppy pass over on the far sideline. Gives it back to the Dukes.
Decisions within the midfield are really what were their Achilles heel against Fairfield as well. They've tried to clean that up in practice this week. Making good decisions, making smart passes, making sure your hands are free when you throw. Those are going to be the difference makers for UConn today.
Maddie Epke again working from that near side, sends it back to X. Dukes they have been so functional. That's what's impressed me most, Jesse, is the plays that they have run, everything they've done to get shooters open in the middle of the field. It's been so sharp.
There's a lot happening off ball. I know when you're watching the game on TV, you tend to look at the ball, but look at the action off ball that JMU. There's so much movement. There's so much movement that they're forcing the defenders to make constant decisions. So just watch off ball this next possession.
Good news, bad news, right? Because Hubiak does everything right there to get the ball out, get the ground ball, win possession back for the Huskies, only for it to go right back the other way.
Those are painful turnovers, and they're really going to have to cut those to really keep this game within reach.
Let's watch this one more time. I'm sorry, I said Hubiak. It was, of course, Riley Brown. And, yeah, as you can see, Maddie Epke.
She got pushed, and sometimes, I don't know, everybody has those funny bones. Sometimes you get hit right on that funny bone, and it's not very funny. So she probably got hit pretty hard there, but hopefully she makes a full recovery because they're going to need her.
And she's right back out there getting that shot off, but Landon White with another outstanding save for UConn. You can see how it is. She's become this program's all-time leader in saves.
Well, defensively, she's definitely not what's going to lose games for them. She's definitely back there making saves, doing her job. She could use a little support around her.
Firing it from a little bit further outside, not on target from Kate Schaefer. Another one of the players I was excited about seeing today, Jesse. Kate Schaefer, the graduate student from West Hartford, preseason Big East Offensive Player of the Year, the co-attacker of the year in the league a year ago. Works inside, and that's good.
She had 1 goal and an assist in their last game, but I think she has a lot more production in her. She's shifty, she's fast. Want to see her really, emerge as an attacker for them to depend on game after game this season.
Abby Sharon cuts it to a 1-goal game, just getting in front, eluding the defender and shooting low. That's a great kind of one-motion effort from Abby Sharon.
And something I saw against the Carolina, in the Carolina game against JMU, is if you have lefties, it's really hard to guard both sides of the field in this zone. So I think they were a little exposed in that Carolina game, that left side of the field. If you shift the ball quickly, it's great. Open season out there for lefties, and UConn has a couple of them.
Abby Sharon, the senior from Canton, Connecticut, that's her first goal of the season. So it looked like it was all Madison early on. Great job by UConn to withstand those body blows and to get this back to a 1-goal game, 3-2, 6 minutes to play in the first quarter.
It's great now if they could only get some draw controls to add to those goals.
Sometimes when you play a team that's as good as Madison, they're the number 3 team in the country, things can get away from you, right, Jesse? Really in a hurry, and all of a sudden you're never really in the game. It just, almost never showed up. I think it's a testament to UConn after losing their opener, probably feeling a little sorry for themselves, getting hit the way they did, that they have responded as well as they have.
Absolutely. It would have been easy to hang your head and say, okay, well, this is the number 3 team. I don't think we can hang. But obviously they're showing that they can hang, and they just need to stop those goals in bunches. JMU can score in bunches. UConn's going to have to score in bunches.
Madison looking to end this little run for UConn. Get things going again offensively after they scored the first 3 goals of the game. Fed towards the middle, and that shot deflected, really blocked down. And the crowd does not necessarily agree. Cards coming out. And it's going to be on Olivia Mattis.
Slash across the body. The goalie came out, did a really good job of trying to secure that ground ball. You can't go into the body with a check, so it's a yellow, and hopefully this woman-up opportunity gives UConn the kind of push and momentum they need.
First time they go woman up today. 2-minute penalty. You first have to get the ball. You have to clear the ball.
Yeah, that's the first thing you need to do, get the ball down the field. And I just think some girls are a little bit hesitant with the ball. They're running with the ball. They're open. You might have an attacker in front of you trying to play transition defense, but you need to have enough confidence to run past them and get the ball down the field. So we're going to have to work on that.
It was an issue for UConn against Fairfield on Wednesday. They were just 18 of 24, 75% on their clears in that game. For reference, Madison, for their first 2 games of the season, 90% on their clears coming into today. We unfortunately don't have live stats up right now, so we'll try to get an update on clears as the game goes on. I was telling Jessie she had to be responsible for keeping all of the stats on top of everything else. She said, I don't think I'm going to choose to do that.
No, that's not the best job for sure.
So the decision when you're a woman down like this for Madison, and I got to look at the clock one more time because there's still 30 seconds. There's a 15-second difference. You want to kill off as much of the penalty as you can, but you're still going to have to run something here late in the clock.
Absolutely. You want to give yourself around 10, 12, 15 seconds to score. That's plenty of time. As long as the other team doesn't have the ball, they're not a threat, but you want to use some of the clock to your advantage and score a well-drawn-out play. A lot of these teams have set plays or individuals that they'll put in their woman-up or woman-down opportunities.
So you saw the foul away from the ball as the defender got trucked in that situation. So go the other way. Not a lot of time left on the penalty. Just 10 seconds. And the Huskies are able to make it count. Boy, how do you like that for late in a woman-up situation, scrambling. UConn able to convert with the goal for Susan LaFountain.
That's great. UConn actually has tons of size. I mean, they have 6-footers on their attack too, and they're finding them inside or they're pushing the ball, and UConn's able to really execute on a woman-up opportunity.
So, first 3 of the game belong to Madison, then 3 straight for UConn. And with 3:12 remaining in the first quarter, we've got a tie game here at Tierney Field. Glenn Clark, Jessie Morgan with you from USA Lacrosse headquarters. It's been a fun quarter, Jessie.
It's great. Having a great time. I feel like everybody came out to watch a good game, and that's what we're getting.
This is a Madison team we talked about at the top. Expectations through the roof coming into the season. Of course, remember, only 6 years removed from winning the national championship back in 2018. Head coach Shelley Clays in her 18th season, 271 career wins, including her previous time at Hofstra. All-time winningest coach in James Madison history with 221 career wins. 2-time National Coach of the Year, 4-time Conference Coach of the Year in the CAA. Then last year, her staff named the Big East Coaching Staff of the Year. I mean, this Madison program has become amongst the standards in college lacrosse.
Absolutely, and they have so much leadership. I mean, they're a staff of head coaches. Kateri Linville was a longtime head coach at Delaware, and Colleen Shear is a longtime coach. She actually coached me at the University of Virginia. I mean, so much leadership, so much experience. There's no wonder they're so good and playing at such a high level for a school, quite frankly, that might be considered a mid-major. There's no big football there. This isn't Clemson. This isn't the ACC. But she, year in and year out, produces teams that play at the very top of their conference and in the nation.
Of course, you mentioned Kateri Linville, who was named the IWLCA's Outstanding Assistant Coach of the Year a year ago. On the other side, you mentioned this UConn program making strides in the Big East. Katie Woods in her 14th year. There's 3 trips to the NCAA tournaments in the last 3 seasons. 3-time Big East Coach of the Year. 126 career wins. It's a UConn team that's headed in that direction of being able to compete with the best teams in the country.
Younger staff. I mean, you got Katie Frederick, 3rd season, Kelly Dowd, 2nd season. Younger coaches, but they're coaching this team very well. Lots of experience, great offense, constantly getting great recruits in. Obviously, you have great draw takers and a goalie, so they're doing the right things out there in UConn. It's great to see.
Bella Peterson reminding you it's not all offense from her, as she does an excellent job with that trail check to get the ball free after UConn had won the draw and get Madison on the attack. The restart. Dukes on the wrong end of a 3-0 run right now, trying to go back in front late in the first quarter.
Well, something that's really hard for attacks to navigate is lots of different looks defensively. So UConn, I talked to Coach earlier, they're going to get 3 different looks out today. It's going to be a face guard, zone, hybrid zone where you're manning up in the front and zoning in the back. So that's really hard when you only get 40 seconds to figure out what they're running and then to execute within that.
What's Maddie Epke doing from this angle with the free position?
I mean, it's possible. You're a big, strong attacker. You can get in there. She's going to try her best. There's no defender on the opposite side, though.
No, they will decide to just back it out. Keep running the offense. Epke switches hands, feeds to the middle. Whistle before that. We'll do it again. I think a little bit more beneficial. Maybe 1 hash mark over from where they were.
If she's lucky. That hanging hash is tough. So there's a hash outside that fan, and then there's a hash inside. This one's completely doable, but she does have defenders flanking.
Epke goes right inside, able to convert. Madison back in front.
You give a great attacker that opportunity. She's going to make it 9 times out of 10. They practice 8 meters constantly in practice, and she knows how to place the ball.
Second goal of the day for Maddie Epke, her 9th of the season. Dukes retake the lead at 4-3 late in the quarter, ending that 3-0 run for UConn. Great placement right in that top corner. You can't put that in a much better spot.
No, off stick side, move the goalie, runs in, gets her hands free. It's textbook.
We're here at USA Lacrosse, and Maddie Epke actually spent some time training with the USA Lacrosse U20 team. As later on this year, the U20 World Championships in Hong Kong, China. Decisions that need to be made roster-wise, but you can only imagine what it would mean for Maddie Epke to have that opportunity to represent her country at the World Championships this summer.
That international experience is what really takes and elevates a player's game. You get to play against the very best in the world, and you get to see different styles of lacrosse that are played all over the world, and it elevates your game. And when you're lucky enough to still remain in college and play, I mean, you bring all of that experience onto your team and hopefully spread it to others, and hopefully there's more JMU players playing at the international level.
It's funny you bring that up because their freshman, Ava Bleckley, also trained with the U20 team. Shot deflected. Backup is there, so it'll stay with Madison. Great job by Landon White trying to track it down. Ava Bleckley, the freshman from Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, who is number 20 on Inside Lacrosse's Power 100 incoming freshman list, also trained with that U20 team, and obviously also hoping to get that opportunity.
Lots of fouls. UConn doesn't want to give JMU too many opportunities on the 8-meter because they have a lot of weapons, but they're playing fiercely. They're being aggressive. You don't want to back down, and they're doing a good job controlling the possession.
Caitlin Morgan decided not to force the issue from a difficult angle, and the Huskies are able to get it back.
Now this is the hard part for the Huskies, the transition.
Yeah.
They're fine defensively. It's the transition.
UConn able to get it down to the other side of the field, using that full width of the field in order to make it happen on a good run from Ray Neal. Sort of like a punt return clear there.
Yes, don't speak too soon. They're bobbling the ball, but once they get it down there, they're pretty good and effective.
1 minute to play in this first quarter. Wide open in the middle. Boy, that was a great opportunity for Carter, not able to whip it home.
The hardest part about playing a zone is that transition, getting into it. Defensively, you're not really man-to-man marked up, so identifying who has the ball and who has those early cutters is the hardest part of a zone.
So Madison gets one more chance here in the final minute of the quarter. 35 seconds. Dukes will slow it down. When do you want to operate in a situation like this, Jesse?
Still want to have the last shot. At least I do. I don't want to give the other team an opportunity to take a draw and to score. So JMU's operating a little bit faster than that, but I would love to work for this last shot and give it to my money makers. Where's Bella in there? Give it to 17, see what she can do.
Maggie Clark swings it back the opposite side. Oh, from well outside. Taylor Marchetti letting it fly and scoring with 8 seconds remaining in the quarter. This game is her recital. She thinks it's very vital to rock a rhyme. That's right on time. Hat tricky. Taylor Marchetti's title with her third already.
she's lighting up quick, and she had a hat trick against Carolina, and that's not what UConn wants to see. That number 23 Marchetti lighting up early, and they still have time to score within this quarter.
That's a good point. 8 seconds left. Obviously, you got to get the ball quickly and move. But for either team that wins this draw, so Madison calls the timeout after UConn scored 3 straight goals, and now they answer back with 2 of their own, take the lead late in the quarter.
They made some adjustments, probably talked about getting the ball to certain areas of the field on their attack and just optimizing the right side of the field versus the left, and it's showing. They've scored, and they've really maintained possession of the ball off the draw pretty well.
Peterson was able to snag it quickly. Just 4 seconds, though. Going to have to fling it down and not going to get it shot off before the quarter comes to a close. But an excellent quarter for James Madison. They're in front 5-3 after 1 here at USA Lacrosse.
New Balance. We got now.
Tap into the sports market with Corrigan Sports Enterprises. CSE has put on hundreds of events throughout its history, and we possess the tools to give your company exposure in the sports industry. CSE has decades of experience helping great companies like Care First, Pandora, New Balance, and Toyota to put their best foot forward in the marketing space, as well as provide spectacular event management. Bring your dreams from conception to fruition at CorriganSports.com.
A little bit of everything in the first quarter. James Madison scores the first 3, then UConn responds with 3 of their own, but Madison scores 2 late in the first quarter, and the Dukes have a 5-3 lead heading to quarter number 2. Glenn Clark, Jesse Morgan with you from Tierney Field here at the USA Lacrosse headquarters. Jesse, again, very impressed obviously by Madison as we expected to be, but also really impressed by the resiliency of UConn. Now they've got to show that they can keep coming up with those answers when they take some big swings from the Dukes.
I think UConn's doing a great job of responding. JMU's getting goals, but they're not letting up defensively. They're staying aggressive. They're staying physical, most importantly, and they're getting after the draw on these loose balls. I think if they clean up some things in transition, this would be a much closer game.
Got to look at Caitlin Bowden, the goalie for James Madison, who came into today having stopped 39.5% of her shots. Had 8 saves against Virginia Tech on Wednesday. Made a couple of nice ones in the first quarter. Today, teams switch sides. Madison will be going left to right on your internet dial. UConn right to left as we start this second quarter. Top 25 matchup. 2 programs who know each other well. Just trying to find out a little bit more, Jesse, about why these teams get together here. And you know, your experience as a coach, you spoke to it. There is an advantage. There's a lot of talent here in the Baltimore area. It's good to play a neutral site game here and say, hey, if you come to Madison, you come to UConn, you're going to get to play games at home.
It's a great opportunity for both teams to kind of showcase their talent and show high-level lacrosse. I mean, we eat that up out here in Baltimore, and you got some hometown girls like Bella Peterson, who literally is from Sparks, Maryland.
Yeah, right down the street in Hereford,
Yeah, so I think it's a great opportunity to kind of showcase high-level lacrosse and to possibly gain some recruits and you know, each team has lots of Baltimore kids on it, so it's nice to not have to travel far for your game. You don't have to go all the way to Harrisonburg for this home contest for JMU.
Yeah, family, friends, able to just come hang out here Cut to the middle. Oh, the bomb from outside. Rhea Davis. She's got a whip.
Yeah, she's special, and it's definitely her shot. She has a great lefty catch, shoot, well-placed attacker, and she does a lot for them and coach told me to star her, and she earned that star already with 2 goals.
It's like a step down. Rhea Davis just lining that up, putting all sorts of power behind it for her 2nd of the day and her 6th of the season. Cuts it back to a 1-goal game at 5-4. She's fired up.
Had some mustard on it. Yeah, she's fired up.
Henrietta, New York. The other, scenario about playing the game here, obviously, is it's like a Maren Morris situation. Like, why don't you just meet me in the middle, right? Like,
yeah,
kind of convenient to just say, hey, we can just hang out in between the 2 of us.
Exactly. Don't have to go too far south. Don't have to go too up north. But I'm a little surprised that there's so many latex gloves on the field with these UConn girls.
You think they'd be used to this?
Yeah, it's a little windy out there, but I see a lot of latex gloves, and I think there's more on the UConn side than the JMU side. The Virginia girls are kind of weathering this storm a little bit better.
How about that? Calling them out a little bit.
Yeah, I see it. I remember back in the day, Northwestern, they weren't even allowed to wear their Under Armours right off the water in Chicago.
That's right. They feel right. It is right there on the water. Yeah.
And if that ain't toughness, I don't know what is. So, I don't know if the latex gloves are a sign of toughness, but I see a lot on the field today.
You never wore gloves, did you?
Well, back in the day, we wore I'm not a tough player. I don't. That is not me. I would have a sweatshirt on, a hat. I'd also have gloves on top of the gloves. So, I don't have to show tough to be tough. But, yeah, some people believe in that. I do not.
Wrapping in front, not quite on target. The ball didn't roll out.
Yeah.
Possession continues to the Husky feed to the middle, but it's knocked back down. As Bowman couldn't come up with it, and the Dukes are able to get it back. Courtney Quirk coming away with the ground ball. American Conference All-Academic performer from a year ago, the sophomore from New Hampshire. All the way blazing in, shot not quite on target from Ebke.
Quick transition. Nice to see that players have the green light in transition. Sometimes you want your attackers to have the ball, but it's great to see middies or defenders get down there and still, if they're open, their hands are free, they should get an opportunity to shoot. And that it's really hard to stop when you can execute that way. And JMU's doing a great job of having quick, early offense.
Looked like Madison kind of cleared out from Marchetti there. They're going to end up turning it over. White comes out to get that ground ball, and that one was just kind of dropped by Maggie Clark. But it looked like they were running a clear out from Marchetti, and that's just really good one-on-one defense.
It is because UConn didn't move all of their players, so they remained in the zone. So even though you're creating an isolation on offense, when the defense doesn't respond how you expect them to respond, meaning clear out so it's a 1v1, it's really hard to then change your offensive scheme quickly enough for that time not to expire. So UConn's doing a great job. They're sending a lot JMU's way, and they're hanging on here.
UConn cleaning it up a little bit in the clearance department. The whistle will come. Was waiting for that. It's UConn again trying to tie things up. This will come back to 12. Schaefer will have it.
So when there's a foul inside the 8-meter, you get to shoot on the 8-meter hash. When you're outside the 8-meter, which she kind of dove, started on the outside and dove into the inside, then you get placed on the 12.
And to be clear, it's where your kind of fall start. Your feet have to be inside that 8-meter in order to win the free position.
Yes, which is where the biggest difference between men's and women's lacrosse is. A lot of our action happens just 8 meters away from the goal, inside 6-5 meters. It's because our sticks don't have pockets like the men, but the men's game, which is a completely different game to me, I do not understand it at all, is way outside the 12-meter. Yeah, they're shooting 100+ miles an hour, and just from different angles, the concept and the strategy behind it is totally different.
So, opportunity here for Giardina. She's got some space. It's a tough angle, though.
Very tough. Hanging hash, she'd have to fight her way inside. It's not ideal. You might want to move the ball.
Yep. She chooses not to force it. She had not taken a free position shot yet this season. Works around to Davis. Davis's path is cut off, so they'll try again. Giardina trying to throw a couple of fakes, looking for room.
You can see they're really trying to get that ball into number 6 Ray on that left side.
Huskies showing patience. Davis will track it back down. Ooh, didn't field it cleanly the first time, but gets it back. Still lots of time on the shot clock. And a scramble. Ooh, that shot from Giardina, was that the right decision from there?
I mean, she just didn't have enough on it.
Yeah.
It got gobbled up. Bowden did a great job. She saw the ball the way in. It was a low shot. She kind of sat on it. You got to have more power. I mean, that needs to come upper 90. She needs to dunk that ball. It's not a layup.
Yeah, particularly from that angle. That's tough. So the Dukes get it back, leading by 1 early in the second quarter. Looked like Madison was going to go play run away in the first quarter, run and hide, but UConn up for the challenge. Now Madison trying to build that lead back up.
And they're able to be aggressive. You see they're getting out. They're a woman-up opportunity. They're getting out on defense, and they get to pressure the ball. Hopefully JMU runs this clock down a little bit, but gets an opportunity at the end of the possession.
It's very similar to the woman up from the first quarter, where there's 30 seconds left here, so there's going to be like a 5-second difference. They'll actually have still 5 seconds on the possession clock after the penalty comes up.
What you're trying to do offensively is just create mismatch numbers. So you start the ball on one side, get them to slide or overcommit to another side, and then you want the ball to beat the defenders to the opposite side. So the ball can move very quickly. You can skip past it. You can do all sorts of things. So you just want fast ball movement to try to beat that defense.
And they get the whistle, and a really good opportunity for Epke right at the middle hash.
Center hash doesn't get any better than this. It's just basically you and the goalie.
Started her season 2 for 3 on free position shots. Epke drives in, shoots, and scores. Maddie Epke joining the hat trick party, her 3rd of the day, and it's 6-4 Madison.
Great location, almost impossible to save when it's off stick side low towards your hip. That's where all coaches tell players to shoot, and that's exactly where she shot.
Still 3 seconds on the Marchetti penalty, but they score a woman down goal, James Madison. It's got to feel kind of backbreaking for UConn, right?
It's tough, but your defense is so out of sorts, and, you know, technically you're not as used to playing woman up or woman down, so it happens.
How much of what we've seen so far, we mentioned hat tricks already for both Epke and Marchetti. How much of that is about the attention that gets paid to Peterson that allows for these opportunities for her teammates?
1,000%. I think when you zero in on a player and you utilize maybe your best defenders or utilize 2 players to stop her, it opens up other players to really erupt and score hat tricks in the first half of games. So that's what's happening. But the best players in the country still continue to score. So Bella's still going to have to create and score, even though the attention is being really paid on her. She's going to have to score and get her points, because this is going to happen all season.
And to be clear, obviously, it's not been a problem so far. She had 5 in both of her first 2 games.
Correct,
right?
correct.
She's had no issue finding hers.
Yeah, and if she wants to stay on the top of that Twarton list, I mean, there are girls that put up 6-7 goals, face guarded every game, so production's important.
Duke's able to hold on to it. The contact was up high, but nothing called. Possession continues, shot low and wide.
I'm really impressed with number 15, Landon White, the goaltender. She's doing a great job. I'm not making anything easy. You can't just throw the ball in there to her. She's going to make the easy saves, and sometimes she's going to make the difficult saves, so she's doing a great job.
The restart. Madison content to keep running the offense. Not forcing anything. Works his way to Epke near side. She marks out some commands. They clear out for her. She drives further wide. Sends it back behind. Feed to the middle, but the whistle first.
We're going to see if it's a push or 3 seconds. Typically, when there's a lot of movement like that, there's a 3 seconds off ball where the defender will be in that 8 meter and not
actively defending.
Yeah, you have to be just a stick's length away. It can't be an arm and a stick. You have to be really close to your defender.
Another free position opportunity and another one cashed in. Make it 7-4 as Madison extends the lead back out to 3.
That's the worst. It's one thing to lose, you know, a goal off of a regular shot, a drive, a feed, but to lose goals in 8 meters and fouls that you feel like are preventable is pretty backbreaking for your team.
So with that first goal of the day for Bella Peterson, she's now a perfect 3 for 3 on her free position shots. Madison matches their largest lead of the day for Peterson, goal number 11 on the season. And after her 5 goals against Carolina last week, she was named the American Conference Honor Roll this week. And the honors are everywhere for Bella Peterson. We talked about being on the Tewaaraton watch list and a Tewaaraton finalist a year ago. Preseason, first-team All-American from USA Lacrosse and Inside Lacrosse. AAC Attack Player of the Year in the preseason. And that's after a year ago she was consensus first-team All-American and the league's Attack Player of the Year and a first-team All-Conference. And the list just goes on and on and on and on and on.
And she's currently taking the draw.
Yeah, on top of everything else.
Yeah. Highly decorated in the AAC with Temple, East Carolina, JMU, Vanderbilt, Florida, Cincinnati, ODU. To be at the top of that conference means, you know, you're a very accomplished player, but she's one of the best to do it and probably one of the best to ever do it at JMU. She's having a great career.
And obviously worth pointing out, she set a new single-season record at James Madison, 91 goals a year ago. She already has 11, and we're only in the 3rd game of the season. She's got a shot to break her own record again this season.
Absolutely, and she's a senior. That means she has lots of experience, and she knows she's played in really big games. If she stays healthy, which I'm sure she will, she has such great size. She could really break her own records and continue, hopefully, playing professionally. And
now the Dukes mixing it up a little bit more as Casey Knobloch from the doorstep stretches that lead out, make it 8-4. Knobloch's first of the day and her 7th of the season. This is the offense that we expected to see from James Madison coming into today.
This is the bunches we were talking about earlier, scoring in bunches. JMU can do it. It's important that UConn responds. They can also score in bunches, but they need to stop this run right now.
About the midway point of the 2nd quarter, Madison stretching that lead back out to 4. Knobloch, who had 3 against UConn back in 2022. It's her first of the day today. Graduate student from Moorestown, New Jersey. Just converting from the doorstep. Peterson again going up against Barlow Clark-Shabe. Different look for UConn.
Just to get back to Knobloch, just because not having her, I'm sure, was a huge loss last year for them. And to have her back, I mean, she's one of the best attackers in the country, and she's back, and she could have entered the portal and gone somewhere else, but she's staying at JMU because she believes in what they have there, and I think she believes that she can help take them very far in, you know, their quest for a championship.
Yeah, great opportunity to try to win a national title. Really good snag in there from Morgan Carter to protect possession for UConn on a pass that was definitely behind her. So UConn needs an answer, trailing 8-4. Where's it going to come from? Oh, Davis not able to hold on to the ball. That keeps rolling, but doesn't get over that red line.
Massive field, massive field. Women's lacrosse has played on a field that's 120 yards long. I mean, the ball could roll forever.
So the Dukes get it back. All the momentum right now. Oh, huge trail check from Davis. Gets it free, but she couldn't come up with the ground ball.
It's called a yard sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sell that stick at a yard sale.
Which is weird because you don't normally set up yard sales right in the middle of a lacrosse field, although we see it all over and over again.
Well, it's like missing a dunk. You yard sale somebody and don't come up with the ground ball. It's like you never did it.
It's such an opportunity for momentum play in this sport, too, right? It gets the
For
bench
sure.
fired up.
Oh,
It gets
yeah.
the crowd fired up.
Yeah, you lose your stick, it's like dropping somebody in basketball. You know, when you cross them over
Yep,
and
breaking
you
their
drop,
ankles.
Yep, you got to hold on to that stick.
Inside, not able to finish this time. Maggie Clark made such a good dodge to get inside, but didn't put it home.
Because Landon White's in there,
And
and she's
very
crushing
good.
it. She's having a day.
So UConn gets it back after the stop. Trying to dig back in, feel their way back into it. Remember, they trailed by 3 in the first quarter and went on a 3-0 run to tie it back up. They could use one of those right now.
Would love to see somebody just kind of take accountability. You can't force the ball into Rhea Davis because that was almost another turnover, but the turnovers are happening because they're really trying to force the ball into her. She's better just working within the system. If she's open after a double, get her the ball, but don't force the ball to her. She's creating too much turnover-prone offense.
Felt like Carter was anticipating the shot there and just never really had all of it. So very little power on that coming out of her stick.
Unfortunate because now once you're kind of 4-8, you know, you can score 4 goals. That's pretty easy. Once you start getting around 5, 6 goals, it plays on you mentally. So we really need this stop for UConn.
Madison trying to extend the lead out to 5. Shot with a lot on it from Peterson, but not on target. Dukes want to go right back to work. Back it out, reset the offense.
I think the officials are doing a great job. You know, they really haven't been a part of this game, and I think the women's lacrosse game is physical, and they're allowing them to play.
Have a day, Maddie Epke. Right into the top corner. Epke's 4th of the contest. 9-4 Dukes.
Well, we know she can score. She's 5'8", sophomore. She can score. Last year, she played at X. This year, they put her up top. That means she's versatile, can go left, can go right, hard to stop.
Epke dodging to her right, around the defender, not a lot of angle to work with, so she had to place it perfectly, and she did. Right over that left shoulder of Landon White. UConn needs a timeout, as what was a 3-3 game has now turned into a 9-4 advantage for James Madison. They've scored 6 of the last 7. For Epke, that's her 11th on the year. And right now, this is, we talked about it in the first quarter, it really does feel like you were trying to describe danger zone territory for UConn, that this one just gets totally away from you.
Yes, I mean, you have a big bag of tricks, and you pull them out, and then, you know, you got to dig deep within that bag sometimes, and you have to find different ways to create a spark or create momentum, and that's just grinding things out. There's like tough plays like ground balls and draws are what kind of dig you out of this hole. So hopefully the coaches can motivate them, get them playing a little bit harder, because that's what they need to do to kind of stop this the bleeding of JMU.
You mentioned with Davis in particular, but we've seen it a few times. It's not just the turnovers, it's the passes where turnovers have been possible. They just seem like they haven't been fully crisp and where the ball is supposed to be on some of the passes that they've made in this quarter.
Not sharp with the ball, not kind of following through, not doing the extra effort. You got to make sure your hands are free when you pass. So those are the little things that crept in against Fairfield, and we're going to hope that they can remedy that in this timeout against JMU.
3:55 remaining here in the second quarter. Coming up at halftime, we will have highlights from the first half if you missed anything. It was a very competitive first quarter in this one. In the second quarter so far, it's been a 4-1 advantage for James Madison. This top 25 matchup here in Sparks, Maryland. All the credit to the folks who got out here this morning to clear the field, the facility to make this possible on a snowy day. It's one of those weird, we feel this all the time in the Baltimore area in late February. There's snow everywhere, and yet it feels kind of pleasant today.
For a lacrosse player, this is a pleasant day. Let's just say that. I mean, lacrosse is played in the dead of winter and then in the heat of the summer. So you get everything when you're a lacrosse player. So I would say a nice, sunny, beautiful day like this is a treat.
Georgian Epke out there for the draw. UConn needing a goal right now just to slow the momentum of the Dukes. Got to get the ball first in order to make that happen.
I know on the draw, JMU really prides itself on a lot of self-draws, you know, getting the ball into space. She's in a pushing position, but she can really get the ball anywhere. You saw she got that down the line behind her. She could draw forward, draw completely behind her. Lots of versatility in the draw circle for JMU.
Good ground ball from Riley Daly, and then an even better job of protecting that ball and pushing it ahead after she came up with it. So the Huskies get this opportunity. What do they need to do better offensively?
Not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Not force it. Sometimes against a zone, they're playing against a zone. JMU's in a zone. You think I need to pass or I need to skip the ball. Actually, sometimes you need to drive. You need to beat that girl that's right in front of you. Maybe not get so fancy with the ball and your passing, and just drive and create your offense from there.
Works back to the near side. Schaefer. Schaefer gets free, shoots low. Whistle first, yes. So Kate Schaefer will get the opportunity. Kenin today 1 for 3 on her free position opportunities, or her free position shots, that is.
So the coaches know all their players, you know, the likelihood of them scoring from the 8. When you're 1 for 3, you might not get an opportunity to shoot this 8.
Officials still talking. And they're going to, no, it will not be a free position opportunity. They'll come back and start it back from X, and Schaefer is frustrated about that. It's just a restart. What was the ruling there, Jesse?
The foul must have occurred kind of outside, maybe not off ball.
Or yeah, I was going to say, was there another foul? Yeah.
Yeah, off ball, and then they placed them at the dot. So there are 2 dots on either side of the goal behind, and that's where they would place a foul that occurred out there.
Great double team defensively, leads the turnover. Opportunity in transition for the Dukes. Pushing ahead, Courtney Quirk. And Madison's not going to force the issue.
Which is great for UConn. I mean, testament to their middies that had to probably really run to create numbers down on that end. Usually bad turnovers on one side lead to easy goals on the other side.
James Madison, 2 minutes to play in this second quarter. They have seized control of the game. Trying to add to it. Marchetti keeps it moving. Picked up. Clark. No relation that I'm aware of.
We're looking at a man-to-man possession for UConn. They're just, you know, mano-a-mano. Can my player beat your player in a one-on-one? So they're doing a good job of standing up against that.
Big-time takeaway from Madeline George, the reigning first-team all-conference performer. Ground ball scooped up by Ray Neal to protect possession as that got sloppy again in the clear. Huskies force it ahead, and it leads to a running shot. Not going to be able to beat Bowdoin.
My goodness. I mean, it doesn't get worse in transition for them. I mean, if I was coaching, I would just tell girls they weren't allowed to pass the ball in transition. You can't pass. Like, we're done passing. You just got to trust your feet and run.
They're just not sharp is what you're like. The passing's just, you need to be more pinpoint in those situations.
Yeah, and when you're not pinpoint and when the ball's flying around and bouncing on the ground, you don't get to make that shot, and that's what happened. You just don't. The lacrosse gods don't reward you with an easy goal when you're throwing the ball along the ground in transition.
Final minute of the quarter. Shot not on target. The backup is there. Madison trying to stretch this out to a 6-goal lead at the half.
This could be the hybrid zone up top, man-to-man behind. I love it.
Wow, Peterson. Oh, my gosh. That is a really high-level goal, Jesse.
I mean, it's because she's 6'1", and even though you send a slide to her, she's still able to elevate her stick and pretty much shoot down on the goal.
And from a tough angle.
Yep.
All of it. Everything about that goal, really impressive.
She's 6'1", playing against defenders that are probably around 5'6", and that's just the nature of the sport. Typically, defenders are around 5'5", 5'6". If you're lucky, you get a 5'8" defender. But some of these attackers are 6'1", 5'11". In what other sport is that not an extreme advantage?
We have seen 100%, by the way. Obviously, that's the case. But the placement, too. And we saw Epke do it. It almost like that left shoulder of Landon White, they figured something out that she's a little susceptible there, and they have placed it perfectly on those shots right to the corner.
They're doing a great job getting their hands free, finding her when they need to, and she's doing a great job of just going down those pipes and scoring.
Bella Peterson's second of the game, 12th of the season. It's 10-4 James Madison, and there's still time. Picked up, got to go in a hurry. Epke trying to step through to the defenders. Not going to be able to make that work. Epke, jack to the middle. Ball hits the turf, and that'll be how the half's going to come to a close. So it doesn't get worse for UConn, but that's about the only good news in a quarter that was dominated by James Madison. 5-1 advantage in the second quarter, and at the half, the Dukes are in front 10-4. We will have first half highlights for you coming up, and then we'll get you ready for the start of the second half. College lacrosse today from Tierney Field, USA Lacrosse headquarters.
Tap into the sports market with Corgan Sports Enterprises. CSE has put on hundreds of events throughout its history, and we possess the tools to give your company exposure in the sports industry. CSE has decades of experience helping great companies like Care First, Pandora, New Balance, and Toyota to put their best foot forward in the marketing space, as well as provide spectacular event management. Bring your dreams from conception to fruition at CorriganSports.com.
New Balance. We got now.
Tap into the sports market with Corgan Sports Enterprises. CSE has put on hundreds of events throughout its history, and we possess the tools to give your company exposure in the sports industry. CSE has decades of experience helping great companies like Care First, Pandora, New Balance, and Toyota to put their best foot forward in the marketing space, as well as provide spectacular event management. Bring your dreams from conception to fruition at CorriganSports.com.
New Balance. We got now.
Halftime here at Tierney Field at USA Lacrosse headquarters. Number 3, James Madison in front of number 24, UConn 10-4. Glenn Clark, Jesse Morgan with you. As we're going to take a look at our first half highlights, see how it is that Madison built up this big advantage. And they came out and asserted themselves early, Jesse. They wasted no time scoring the first 3 goals of the game. Maddie Epke, in fact, scoring the first one in about, 10 seconds is all it took her.
It started super strong and fast, and I think UConn did a good job of hanging on and responding, but the players that we knew were going to show up today have really shown up. I mean, Marchetti, Epke, they're showing why they're the number 3 team in the country.
The first 6 goals scored by the Dukes were scored by Epke and Marchetti, but UConn had a response. After they fell behind 3-0, they were able to get things going. Rhea Davis in transition cashes that one in for her first of the day. UConn, after surrendering the first 3, would score 3 straight. Abby Sharon inside, scoring that one. And then one more from Susan LaFountain in traffic. And all of a sudden, it was a tie game. UConn had some momentum, but Madison took a timeout at that point, and then it was all Madison once again after that.
Yeah, and they made adjustments on their attacking end, and defensively they were able to transition quickly, but love to see LaFountain kind of make her mark in this game. We need to see more from her. She has 4 goals and 1 assist on the season, and they lean on her a lot. I think we've seen Rhea Davis do some things, but we're going to have to see her more in the second half.
Maddie Epke converting on the free position. And then Bella Peterson converting from the free position. Bella Peterson was quiet for much of the half and then scored 2 late in the first half. As that one getting into the mix, Casey Knobloch with her first of the day. Then a little more this one. Epke right to the corner. Perfectly placed. And then maybe even better, Bella Peterson, exact same spot, but with the contact and everything, Peterson puts it home, stretching the lead out to 10-4, which is where we are at the half. So let's go into the huddle, into the locker room, if you will, Coach. Take me into UConn's huddle. Head coach Katie Woods, what's she saying to her team at the half?
If I'm Katie Woods today, I say run first, second, and third options, meaning you get to pass when that's maybe your 4th or 5th option. You should be running. You should be dodging first. I think passing the ball, catching it has been a little difficult. It could be a little chilly out there, and I know with metal sticks and your fingers, it gets cold and you lose the feel for your stick. But this needs to be a run first, second, and third option offense. In transition, defensively, run first. Goalies, run. Everybody. So pass 3rd or 4th, and let's see if that could change and help us win this game.
Get out there to start the second half. Madison will be moving from right to left in quarter number 3 with that 6-goal advantage. 10-4 there in front of UConn. The second half getting underway. Glenn Clark, Jesse Morgan with you. Great to be hanging out here at USA Lacrosse headquarters, and we'll start with the possession from UConn to begin the third. Really needing to get some momentum back.
Great box out on the draw. I mean, it's going to start there for them if they are going to come back in this game. So love to see them executing those little things. Their toughness is really showing. But let's see how they really take care of the ball in this possession. I mean, you want to get the ball around, get your touches in, but you really need to dodge and get to goal.
Had the cutter. Not able to connect. Bowman had slipped in front. UConn patient the first possession of the second half, not wanting to force anything. Now, as I say that, it's forced, and it leads to a turnover.
And silly me for not realizing this maybe earlier or talking about it, but the reason it's so hard to pass and throw is because the defense from JMU is out of the 12 pressuring. I mean, usually you see zones, they'll kind of shell the 8 or, you know, get maybe a step outside. They are at the 15 and 14 pressuring the ball. That's why it's so hard to catch.
Boy, that is killer. Huskies get it back on the ride, and then Davis had Quirk open, just not able to make that pass.
It's the excitement of the moment. You just get so excited to have the ball that you throw it away.
Another great step through from Riley Brown. She wants to go do it by herself. She said, I'm not passing the ball this time.
That's right, and that's the mentality you need to have. You need to just go straight through. That pressure that's 14, 15 yards away from the goal is not really there. You just have to have confidence as a ball carrier to go through her. It's hard to play defense that far away from the goal. Almost impossible.
Especially with someone with a head full of steam, momentum going.
Yeah, when you're quick, the game is easy. When you're fast, the game of lacrosse is very easy. It's when you're not that fast. You're like a me, where you have to trust many different elements of the game. But if you're fast and have size, this is the game for you.
So, adjudicating this, it's going to be a penalty on Alex Piracino.
Which is technically, I would say, a very good foul because UConn had
be,
numbers. Yep. They were right in front of the goal. I would say sometimes they're fouls that are great fouls, and that would have been a great foul. It allowed them to recover and get numbers inside.
A professional foul, if you will.
Yeah, you had one to give.
UConn converted woman up back in the first quarter. With seconds to spare, they're going to try to do it again here, and we will see once again Rhea Davis. And that cannon of hers.
Well, we know what she's going to do, but can she get this on cage?
I believe this is the third time we've seen Davis. She instead decides to pass this one and did not fool anyone.
That was a little disheartening, to be quite honest. As a coach, that's hard for me to see. You know, you're one of our premier players, but you're generating not offense but turnovers. So her usefulness on the field is kind of negated when she has this many turnovers. I mean, it just in the back of my head, I think she has at least 3 or 4. So unless you have 7 goals, I probably shouldn't keep you on the field.
So I want to give credit, obviously, to Nicole Marshall, right? Like the instincts on that. Is that a case of you've done one thing all day, they're expecting it, so you're hoping you can catch them off guard?
Of course. You're trying to dig into that bag of tricks, and sometimes the bag isn't as full as you thought it was, and you dig in that bag and it's empty.
So 15 seconds remaining on the penalty for Madison to kill off, and then they'll have plenty of time on this possession to go to work. Oh, take it back. So as I say that, after the overrule, still 15 seconds remaining on the woman up for UConn if they can clear this in a hurry.
They got it down there safely, which is great. Still a lot of passes. I mean, that was 6 passes to get the ball down the field. Would love to see them kind of just take a little bit less with the passing and drive more.
The penalty comes up, so we're back to even strength. Sharon, that's going to hit the turf once again. Critical ground ball. it'll go the other way off the whistle.
And that's a foul, and it's no longer a whistle start. You can just start with the ball.
Self-restart.
Yeah, defensively. They've done a lot in the last few years in terms of really allowing the game to continue. Continuation of play is a huge part of the rules now. So you just want to get the ball. There was a foul, restart, reset very quickly.
Madison pushing is Lizzie Piracino. Piracino is one of 3 sets of sisters, including 2 twins on this Madison roster. And I mentioned Ava Bleckley, the freshman, earlier. Her sister Chloe is going to join the team next year. There won't be 4 sets of twins because there'll be graduations and players moving on, but lots of sisters in James Madison lacrosse family.
It's a testament to the health of the program. I mean, you have one person there, and you promote the program. You know, they come home on Thanksgiving, and they say what a great time they're having, and then, you know, the sister hears it, and they go. So I think having sisters and even twins, like, they could have separated. They could have gone to different schools, but they didn't because they believe in what JMU is producing year in and year out, and that's why sisters and twins are going there.
UConn gets it back. Still looking for the first goal of the second half. Anything to get a little momentum.
Just run. And there you go.
Bowman listening to Jesse Morgan.
Please stop passing.
Huskies. What can they do better?
Take care of the ball mostly.
Clearly. That's at the top of the list. Right, Davis whips to the other side. That's a hopeful shot from well out there.
Yeah, you're probably not going to score at this level from outside the 8 with 2 people on you.
Ball comes loose, and a stoppage for an injury briefly, but it looks like everything's okay.
This is a rough game. There's a lot of hits and you know, bumps off ball, and girls are really being physical, which is great. This is what the game's supposed to be. It's a physical game. I think it's the most physical game a young woman can play, and the refs are doing a good job of keeping everybody safe, but not losing that physicality, which is awesome.
Madison trying to clear. Slow start. They've been sloppy in their clears in this third quarter.
It has to be cold. That's all I'm going to say. Look, I've never seen so many turnovers, and I know as a coach they must be losing their minds on the sideline.
So UConn with another chance. Good movement in front, and oh, what a save by Bowden.
I mean, it doesn't get better than that. You make that doorstop save, it really uplifts your team. You'd love to see them get a goal coming down the other end because that stop, that was awesome.
Giardina denied. Ooh. Good move.
Yeah.
Really good move, and that is the freshman. Bleckley helping out in the clear. And timeout taken with 8:58 remaining in the third quarter. Madison still in front 10-4. Neither team has scored here in this third quarter. We'll come back in and get things going again from USA Lacrosse headquarters where Madison's in front 10-4.
Hey, you!
New Balance. We got now.
Tap into the sports market with Corrigan Sports Enterprises. CSE has put on hundreds of events throughout its history, and we possess the tools to give your company exposure in the sports industry. CSE has decades of experience helping great companies like Care First, Pandora, New Balance, and Toyota to put their best foot forward in the marketing space, as well as provide spectacular event management. Bring your dreams from conception to fruition at CorriganSports.com.
About midway through the third quarter, James Madison in front of UConn 10-4. Glenn Clark, Jesse Morgan with you from USA Lacrosse headquarters. As James Madison's looking to improve to 3-0 to start the season. UConn got a lot of work to do to try to find win number 1 in the 2024 campaign. It has been a sluggish third quarter for both teams, really, Jesse, as turnovers have kind of been the name of the day in quarter number 3.
It's tough, and I know both coaching staffs preach, take care of the ball. It's so hard, and I was a player, and I'm not about to sit up here and be critical of these young kids that are trying their best, but it is a sloppy game. It's hard to watch. I think it really detracts away from your talent as a player when you don't really think through possessions or take care of the ball. I'm not going to say it looks lazy, but I did say it. It's lazy. I just said that. So it looked like you're just not making the extra effort. Like sometimes you got to go a little bit further and get your hands free and throw the ball and not just throw it because there are 2 girls on you.
The attention being paid to Bella Peterson is a big story to me. As soon as she touches the ball, not even in like a threatening situation, the moment she touches the ball, 2 defenders right on top of her, ends up leading to the turnover, and UConn gets it back.
I mean, she's a big part of their offense, so they're trying to get the ball to her, and UConn, she doesn't have that many goals today, so what they're doing is working. I think defensively they can't be that mad about it. They're getting great goalie play, and they're holding one of the best players in the country to a couple goals.
Great move from Sharon, a couple of fakes, and UConn on the board here in the second half. Abby Sharon cuts it to 10-5.
Good possession, still a fight. UConn's doing what they need to do. They didn't throw that many passes, which was great, and they're going to goal.
Second of the game and the season for Abby Sharon, the senior. She had the space, great dodge, and then still works in a couple of fakes, knowing you still have to face the goalie in this situation, right? Just because you beat your defender doesn't mean the goal's sitting there wide open. You still have more work to do.
You have to move her, and she did a great job. I mean, you could see that the goalie went for that first fake and then actually had a chance at the second, but she put it away. You got to put some zip on it, and you got to put it far, far away from where they can get it.
So the first goal of the second half belongs to UConn. It comes nearly 7 minutes into the half. So can the Huskies build off of that? Get this thing tighter, make it a game going to the fourth.
It's going to start with draws. That was a great draw, self-draw. She's tall. She got up there. Who's that? Barlow, number 8. She's a tall player. Got it to herself, secured the possession.
And Clark Shave sets the tone for the Huskies. And we've seen more of her at the draw as the game has gone on.
And sometimes those face-off, get-off people are just disruptors. They're not your normal person who takes the draw day in and day out or even in practice, but as a coach, she's going to go in there and just maybe muck it up enough to retain the ball.
How about Bowden with that save? Worked inside. I thought everything about that possession was really good for UConn, but Bowden was right there.
Both goalies are having a great game and making some really tough saves.
So Madison still looking for their first goal of the second half. And Peterson got a good look, certainly by her standards, as well as she's defended throughout the course of the game. Not able to make it count.
What happened is that face guard got picked. So, when the face guard comes off, she's going to come off wide open. So that's what happened in that slow break part of that possession. She got picked, and then she came off wide open.
UConn still trying to fight back in. Riley Daly.
Nobody wants that green card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just put your hands up
exactly.
in the air. I'm not doing anything.
Not guilty. There you go.
Sharon again from back at X. Was looking for a cutter. Wasn't there. Feeds it to Schaefer.
Oh, my goodness.
Another pass that turns into a turnover, and Jesse Morgan can't help but hide her frustration.
It's tough out here. It's tough out here.
Maggie Clark comes up with it. She brings it down the field for Madison. Lets the personnel get out there, and the Dukes go to work again. The good news for UConn is the defense has been good in the third quarter.
The bad news is it's really hard to be good for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Against, you know, it's good. It's awesome to be good for 2 minutes or 4, 10 minutes at a time. But, you know, to sustain that through 60 minutes, that's where good attacks just wear you down.
Epke was given her left. She tried to lob the pass up, but put it too high up in the air. And you can see the effects of the wind today as those snow squalls come in front of the camera. It is a windy day. Does the wind affect you at all?
1,000%.
Okay, walk me through that, Jason.
I mean, it's a projectile that's flying through the wind to get to you or to going away from you. So the wind the ball's not a lead ball.
Right.
It's not super heavy, but it moves, especially when you're used to playing on, you know, maybe inside or really great conditions. The wind, the rain especially. I mean, lacrosse in the rain is a completely different game.
No question.
Because we have things like leathers and our sticks are really susceptible to the elements. So the weather plays a huge role in the game of lacrosse.
10-5, another chance for UConn. Try to keep chipping away. They've only been able to get one back despite holding Madison scoreless so far in the third. Backup is there. It starts to feel like another goal, and UConn really thinks they're back in this thing.
Well, they've only really, in my mind, been able to score from a few places. 8 meters, they're getting opportunities there, but that means that you're going to goal and you're getting fouled, which is great. You don't want to just sit on the side of the 8 meter and not try to penetrate. So they're penetrating, they're getting fouls, great, 8 meters. They've been able to score from the crease, so that's really great. They're challenging from the crease. Those crease girls are getting to goal, but they're going to have to continue and possibly pass out of that, create their offense from the crease.
Giardina, center hash. Another free position opportunity. Does not push the issue. Works its way back to Davis. Davis inside, not on target, but yeah, whistle. And Madison player's not happy about it.
Because she got hit
Yeah.
with the ball, but the ball was already shot. It was after the shot, so it shouldn't be a dangerous propel or anything like that.
Wow. So Taylor Marchetti has been disqualified.
Okay.
That's significant.
I mean, that's a lot of goals. I would say that's taken 3 goals off the field for JMU, but maybe she said something.
Right.
You know, we don't know up here. We can't see, but to be disqualified for the game, either you have to get 2 yellows, which she might have. You know, she might have gotten 2 yellows or, you know, done something pretty flagrant on the field. We didn't notice anything flagrant from up here, but 2 yellows will get you off the field.
Great job by Landon White to step in like a field player in that situation, pick off the pass, and get it back down the other way for UConn. Another opportunity is the Dukes have really gone cold here in the third quarter.
It's because they haven't been able to run their offense maybe the way that they've wanted to run it. I know that UConn's throwing a lot at them.
Oh, from outside, LaFountain, you asked for it, and she delivers a second of the game, and UConn chipping away. It's now 10-6.
Great shot from the outside, put power on it, and it was a low worm burner. Those are hard to save, so good job by UConn.
LaFountain's 6th of the season. Huskies have outscored the Dukes 2-0 in this third quarter. They are not going away. 3 minutes, 47 seconds to play in the third. It's a 4-goal game now. And life for UConn in this second half. James Madison, be interesting to see how they respond as they once again are getting punched back. Peterson back out.
And number 8, Barlow Clark-Shabe is out there trying to be a disruptor.
Great win from Peterson. Flicking it back. Snagged by Epke. Dukes going to be patient again. Just want to run the offense.
I'm going to guess that we're going to see that hybrid defense where it's a lot of zone up top, huge hedges to the ball, and a lot of man-to-man behind. They haven't been able to get the ball behind because UConn's doing a great job of denying that ball and putting pressure on it. You see she's not just sitting on the goal line. They are behind and in that player's hands.
Clark started to her right, now back to her left. She had the path, and she's taking advantage of it. Maggie Clark, her first of the day, her first of the season. Stepping in with Marchetti off the field. Maggie Clark gets the first goal of the half for James Madison, and they stretch the lead back out to 11-6.
Those drives down the alley are so hard to save. I mean, you see the slide is coming. They're doing everything they can. They get her out wide, but when you have a really great shot, lot of power, well placed, it's almost impossible to stop.
The commitment there, right? That I'm going to make this step and I'm going.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't free, right? Like she had a defender kind of on her hip.
No, it's like shooting a three with somebody's hand in your face. Like you did everything you can defensively, but they still make the shot. Steph Curry.
Caitlin Clark, if you will.
Yes, yes.
11-6. 3:01 remaining in the third quarter. So Madison ends their drought that had dated back to the final minute of the second quarter. There's George back out there this time for UConn, and they'll have it.
Went back to Old Faithful, and she was able to get it to herself and secure the ground ball. But the transition passing.
Almost a communication issue there. Two players like, you got it. You go, oh, no, nobody got it.
Yeah, just run. Just run. Continue running. Keep going.
Ray Neal in trouble along the sideline. Gives it to Davis as Madison extends, and that opens up a little bit of space. Bowman sends it back behind to Sharon. Cutter in the middle. Good textbook lacrosse. A little bit extra on the pass. Very smartly handled.
We talked about earlier in the game how difficult it is for these zone defense to match up and stop the ball in transition. This is still considered transition. The ball is just getting down. They don't have their numbers. They don't have their system down. Not enough pressure on the ball. She was able to get her hands free, see the open girl, and give it to her where she needed it.
LaFountain's second goal of the quarter, her third of the game, 7th of the season. UConn continuing to hang around. 11-7 with 2:20 remaining in the third.
I mean, she's pumped up, and that's what we needed. We needed to see LaFountain. You know, she wasn't as much of a factor in the first half, but here she comes the second half right when her team needs her.
It's interesting you say that. It feels like it's her moment where she's saying, hey, let it go through me.
That's right. Put them on your back.
Let it go through me as we try to work our way back into this game. A lot of UConn supporters, and now we're hearing from the Madison supporters trying to get their team fired back up.
It's dog versus dog out here.
We got a standing room only crowd here at Tierney Field.
Yeah, it's the Danes versus the Huskies.
It's the Dukes and the Huskies.
There we go.
Yeah, but dogs all over the field, to your point.
Lots of barking happening on the sideline. Dog versus dog.
2 minutes remaining in this third. UConn with a little bit of momentum right now, trying to capitalize on it. Into the middle, shot wide. Possession shot, if you will. Backup was there.
Here's the offense coming from the crease. I think well executed,
Yeah.
A little tough defensively. JMU's doing what they need to do, sliding to that elbow girl on the back door. But the offense for UConn is coming from the crease.
That one was a little bit more forced.
Oh, yeah, that off-ball defender read that all the way. Like a safety in the middle of the field, she just came over and snagged that ball.
Piracino, and then the yellow card to boot. As Alex Piracino, remember there's two of them, Alex and Lizzie, twin sisters from Ruxton, Maryland, by way of St. Paul's.
Yeah, hometown girls. I'm sure there's a lot of St. Paul's fans out here today.
Look at the difference. Could essentially turn, they don't for a bunch of different reasons, but you could essentially turn the shot clock off here. So Madison again with the option to try to hold for the last-ish shot of the quarter. It's not quite like basketball where you want to shoot at the buzzer. You do want to shoot with enough time left that, you know, you could get a rebound, you know, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, plenty of clock. You want to move the ball, and you want this to be a layup. You don't want to have to work for it. You don't want to have to do anything crazy.
Pass deflected inside. UConn's going to get it back.
That was doing something crazy.
So UConn woman down. And this will be interesting because we'll see there's a rule change this year. Of course, UConn's woman down. They're not woman up, so let me take that back. Strike it from the record. No reason for them to hold. I don't know about that shot either, though.
She's a great goalie, and you're not going to get away with not putting, you know, upwards of 50, 60 miles an hour on the ball. So if you're not a 50, 60 girl, pass.
And you had the opportunity to kill off more of the penalty to boot.
And make it 8-11, which is completely striking distance. So
that'll be how the third quarter comes to a close. UConn did do a little bit of work. They made it more interesting in the third quarter. And we do still have a game on our hands as we head to the fourth. James Madison in front 11-7 from USA Lacrosse.
Tap into the sports market with Corgan Sports Enterprises. CSE has put on hundreds of events throughout its history, and we possess the tools to give your company exposure in the sports industry. CSE has decades of experience helping great companies like Care First, Pandora, New Balance, and Toyota to put their best foot forward in the marketing space, as well as provide spectacular event management. Bring your dreams from conception to fruition at CorriganSports.com.
Hey you! Can we come together? Hey you! Can we come together? One more.
New Balance. We got now.
Start of the fourth quarter at Tierney Field here at USA Lacrosse headquarters. Number 3, James Madison, leading number 24, UConn, 11-7. But the Huskies did outscore James Madison 3-1 in the third, so they've got a little bit of momentum as we head to the fourth. Still a lot of work to do to get back into this one. Glenn Clark, Jesse Morgan with you. What did UConn do right in that third quarter in order to at least start working their way back into this game?
they didn't have as many turnovers, and they scored on the opportunities that they were given. You know, you might not get that many opportunities against this defense. It's a smothering defensive zone. So the opportunities you do get, you must capitalize on.
And again, worth reminding, Taylor Marchetti disqualified from the game after she had scored 3 goals in the first half. So that is a storyline to continue to monitor as we start quarter number 4. Team switch sides once again. Mathematically, Jesse, like the practical side of it. We all know anything's possible, right? Like, but
yes.
the mathematical side of, hey, if you're back within 3 with X amount of time left, if you're back within 2 with X amount of time left, that you feel good about your chances. What are the numbers?
Lacrosse is a really crazy game, and I have been a part of and witnessed many crazy things happen. And you know, I've seen teams, I remember when Loyola was down against Virginia with 1 minute left, and Virginia came back and scored 3 goals within that minute. So anything can happen. I think down by 3 is a great place to be. And with any sort of amount of time left on the clock, if you can get this within 3, you can win the game.
Madison scored just 1 goal here in the second half, trying to change that. You see a lot of attention being paid to Bella Peterson whenever she has the ball. Landon White took a risk, and it didn't pay off this time. And Madison does find their second goal of the second half as Caitlin Morgan gets her first of the day.
High risk, high reward there. So, you know, a little too risky. If she gets it, everybody's cheering and excited. If she doesn't, it was a bad play. So that was one of those plays. Would have loved to get her hand on it. She didn't. Now they get to score on an open goal.
A little too all or nothing
Yeah.
there. Little, you see that all the
Not
time
awesome.
when it's a step or so away from the crease. I mean, this was 4 to 5 steps out of the crease to make that play.
I know what's going through her head. She's a goalie. She wants to do this for her team, and she's almost over trying. And you can't over try. You got to let the game come to you. You got to play within your game, because when you over try, that stuff like that happens. So just stay in your little circle there in your crease, make the saves, and that's just as good. So I get the effort, but maybe not right there.
Yeah, great start to the season for Caitlin Morgan, by the way. She had the overtime game winner against North Carolina in the opener. Then she had a hat trick, 5 points against Virginia Tech on Wednesday. That's her first goal of the day. And another turnover from UConn.
You get the boss draw control. I mean, she snagged it out of the air, and just to turn it over. No, nothing happened. The wind blew in your direction, and you turned the ball over. It's tough. UConn, I know their coaches are on the sideline pulling their hair out.
So now James Madison, on top of everything else, the clock is the friend. When do you start thinking about, hey, let's work deeper into these possessions and play to the fact that we have the advantage and the clock is our friend?
Lucky me, I played many years and coached alongside Colleen Shear, and in the past she's been as conservative as they come. But over the last couple years, she's really...
Ooh, hang on.
That would be a bad injury. But she's okay.
Okay.
Maybe she just
Oh, boy.
got cleated, stepped on, whatever. I know that she's coaching them to keep their foot on the pedal, and that is what JMU is going to do. They're the number 3 team in the country, and they can do that.
And to your point, that's exactly what they do. As Bella Peterson gets her third of the day, and obviously the reason why we reacted the way we did is because it's one of the best players in the country that was down and grabbing at her foot, and that had to be a nervy moment for all the James Madison fans watching, but she, to your point, Jesse, appears to be just fine.
She got stepped on. It's a little cold out there. Those Tootsies get stepped on in the cold. It hurts real bad.
Third of the day for Bella Peterson. And today, Bella Peterson came into the day 5 shots behind Gail Decker for the career shots record at James Madison. Unfortunately, we do not have live stats available to us on the day, but with 3 goals, I think I remember at least one other shot. I'm going to guess that she got that 5 number.
It's close. I mean, all the attackers on JMU shoot over 50%. So the shots that she has, the 3 or 4, she doesn't have many more than that because their shooting percentages are amazing.
No, that's true. Bella Peterson was assaulted like every record in James Madison history. Scores there, and it's a 13-7 game. So now UConn, who had some hope coming into the start of the fourth quarter, starting to get in the last stand territory at this point.
You're going to have to do something different, and you're going to have to pressure out defensively, and you're going to have to take chances and capitalize them on offense.
And the story moving forward for UConn as they get into the Big East this season is going to have to be cleaning up the turnovers.
1,000%. And the way you do that, tough foul, is, in my mind, conditioning. You know, I think that's a tough thing to say to players, but the better conditioned you are, the clearer your mind, the better your decision. So I think we got to get back to maybe a little bit more running with the ball in transition and conditioning the team as a whole, and I guarantee that helps clean up some of these turnovers.
Reposition, nice hammer down. Susan LaFountain has really been the offensive weapon for UConn in the second half. That's her 4th of the day, 8th of the season.
LaFountain really brought it this second half. Couldn't be more excited about that player. She's putting this team on her back, and she's saying, we're not going to roll over. I'm going to stay in this game.
Back-to-back 4-goal games to start the season for Susan LaFountain. And they're not dead yet. 13-8. Just trying to fire up the UConn supporters, make some noise for us, help us stay in this game. Got a lot of work to do. 12:54 remaining. There is still time.
There is. There's plenty of time, especially if you're going to play like that. Keep generating offense. Keep going hard. You can do this.
I'll send George back out there to work against Epke. Just under 13 minutes remaining. This is not over. And there George wins draw cleanly.
Great draw. Put it into space. Run onto it. This is the hard part for UConn.
Contact comes up high. A little bit too aggressive there. Maggie Clark. It's tough because you see that sideline as a defender and you know it's your friend, and so you want to try to use it as an extra defender, but as you're doing that, can't have it come up high the way that it did.
Yeah, too much contact. You can do that. You got to move your feet. Don't use your stick. I know it might appear like a weapon at times, but it's really defense is all in your footwork and moving your feet and staying in front of that attacker.
Yeah, you saw that. Right up to the head, and you can't have it. So, woman up opportunity for UConn, trying to get momentum back.
And a great opportunity to get to our magic number, which would be 10. If they can get this game 10-13, it's anybody's ball game.
Skip pass, Davis able to snag it. Bullies it inside, and it is a 4-goal game. Momentum for the Huskies again.
This team is a bunch of gunslingers because they're doing things that I really couldn't imagine doing. They're throwing skip passes, running girls over, you know, shooting low to high, doing all the crazy things, but that's what you have to do. You have to be a risk taker to come back.
So, Giardina, her first of the day, first of the season, 13-9 with 12:16 remaining. And is this an unreleasable penalty? Is this the new rule that you were telling me about before the game, Jesse?
Yes, let me try to articulate the rules. There are a lot of new rules this year, but one of the biggest are those green cards that are happening in between the 30, where if you get 3 or more than 3, that fourth one is unreleasable. So that means that you get to be woman up for that entire minute possession.
So big opportunity right now for UConn. They get the woman up goal and they remain woman up. Can they maybe get a couple more? They could totally change the course of this fourth quarter. Gotta hold on to the ball, obviously, in order to do that.
That's key, for sure.
Work back towards the middle, shot not quite on target. Ground ball there.
Watching this team would give me heart palpitations because the ball is barely, missing its mark, barely getting caught. It's so tough.
And there's just no reason.
No.
Davis is wide open. She's not well defended there. You just can't have that. You're woman up. You're trying to work your way back into the game. And look, LaFountain's been great today.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to come down too hard on LaFountain, but it's just a critical turnover in that spot.
Literally at least 5 or 6 turnovers has happened trying to get the ball to her. For whatever reason, sometimes it's her bobble, her catch, and in that instance, I think it was the throw was a little high. But why are we trying to force the ball into a wide open player? Just move the ball or skip pass it to someone else. I'm not sure.
So the rest of the penalty will be killed off. UConn was able to get 1, but a really good opportunity to get this thing back to 3 or even 2. Not able to take advantage of it.
Still plenty of time. UConn just has to get saves. It's going to be a matter of playing hard defense, not shelling the 8, but getting outside the 8, really putting pressure on people's hands, and making saves and getting the ball out in transition.
Dukes hold on to possession. Trying to get going again.
See, they tried to use Bella as a pick, and they just stayed on. They're not switching off of her, trying to get her open inside.
Further outside. And White there. Saw Epke willing to let it fly. Huskies get it back. But still a little bit of momentum.
You can see how they're a pass-first transition team. Girls are wide open with the ball and are
Still
looking
looking to
around.
pass,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it slows you down because you're looking to pass. Just run, 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 run.
Saying just need to work on the cardio, huh?
I mean, amongst other things, but I think that cleans up a lot. I think it cleans up a lot because it gives you more confidence when you have the ball.
Good snag from LaFountain, but her shot denied by Bowden.
Great
Again,
save.
Another time where the pass was just a little bit off,
Yeah.
and maybe in sort of correcting for that, LaFountain not able to get the placement that she wants on the shot.
Right.
And it leads to a golden opportunity the other way. James Madison makes them pay with Casey Knobloch scoring her second of the game, and it's 14-9. Well, you can see that, like, UConn has talent. They've had the opportunities today, but I would almost compare it to the Kansas City Chiefs, right? The opportunistic ability of the Chiefs. A week ago in the Super Bowl, we saw a moment where the 49ers had the momentum, but one punt goes awry and the Chiefs make them pay. Huskies have done a lot of good things in the second half, but these turnovers, James Madison's going to make you pay.
You can't have massive turnovers against good teams. They're going to not even make you pay with one goal, but it'll be several goals. They'll string together 3 in a row. So, uncharacteristic for a UConn team to have this many turnovers. I know that the coaching staff is going to fix it, and moving forward, they're going to learn from these mistakes and carry them on into their conference play. But it would have been great to have a win today against a top 3 opponent.
So 14-9, and the Dukes get it back. And now, is this the time where you maybe start to work a little more clock? Not yet?
It's either clock or score. Pick one. You can either work the clock, but I think for JMU, working the clock gives UConn more opportunity. I think you keep your foot on the pedal and you continue to score, because I don't think UConn has been able to generate as much offense to offset that.
Madison carrying the weight of being that number 3 team in the country, being a national title contender. Pass forced to the middle, it's knocked away, intercepted. Megan Whitley comes away with it. And we'll keep saying it, there's still time. There's still 8 minutes remaining. UConn has not been able to extend when they've had those little runs, those little pieces of momentum. They haven't sustained them. Do they have one big charge in them here in the fourth quarter? Carter, oh boy, dangerous collision. Luckily, she knows. She's quite aware.
It's tough. She was being aggressive, going for the ball, but that stick-to-head contact is always going to be karma.
Reigning American Conference, American Athletic Conference Freshman of the Week. Just a little bit too aggressive. So here we go again. Another woman-up opportunity for UConn. Let's clear this up, though. This would not be an unreleasable, correct? Because it wasn't between...
It's not a green card. It's a yellow.
Yep.
But if you get a lot of those, too, they can become unreleasable.
And unfortunately, I don't have stats in front of me, so I can't tell you how many that is at this point.
We haven't seen that many yet.
Okay, this is I thank you. I got the update. They have reached the 4th, so
Okay.
This one would be unreleasable as well.
That's wild. That's a big major foul.
So again, another opportunity for UConn to get this thing even closer. 2 minutes. Oh, and there's 2 different penalties. Apparently, there was also a penalty on Brianna Manella.
All right, then
Manila hit with the yellow as well. Don't know again if that was something that was said.
We might never know.
2 women up for UConn. This is a huge moment.
It's surprisingly difficult to score. You would think it's easy. You're going to see the open holes, but it's hard.
Kick save by Bowden.
It's hard because the defenders are covering more space. They're a little bit more frantic. Their sticks are higher because they know that they're 2 women down. So you'd be surprised how difficult it is to score when you're down by a couple.
Got to execute, and they do. That's how you do it. Get a runner right in front of the cage.
UConn goal by number 19, Shanna Giardino.
So that was Giardina scoring her 2nd of the day, and we got an update. The 2nd yellow card that is being served by Manila was not actually on Manila. It was on Shelly Clays, the James Madison coach. So Manila's serving it, but it was something from the sideline, clearly that was said, and that was the reason for the 2nd yellow. But what's relevant about it is UConn just scored to make it 14-10. Giardina getting her 2nd of the game, and if they can get the ball back, they've got a chance to get a couple more while they remain 2 women up.
Correct. I mean, it's a great opportunity for them. 7 minutes. As long as they keep scoring, the clock keeps stopping. So that's great for them. It's in their favor to continue to keep their foot on the pedal now and to generate as much offense as they can in this penalty.
Katie Woods, head coach at UConn, walking through it. And Shelly Clays trying to, in this timeout, inspire. First of all, you got a defense that needs a breather, right? Because you're asking them to play 2 players down and get a stop. So you need a breather to begin with. And you got to walk through strategy in this spot. I think part of the conversation also happens to be if you get the ball, I imagine UConn's going to be pressuring like crazy. So you got to talk through what you're doing 2 women down, even if you win the draw.
Absolutely, and it's early in the season, so there's absolutely no way these teams have gone over this
Right.
scenario.
a 2 woman down.
Yeah, you have not practiced. I don't care who you are, and kudos to them if they have. But odds are they have not practiced being two women down, and quite frankly, UConn hasn't practiced being 2 women up. So you're about to get a lot of unknowns out here in this set, but this is when great players shine. When things are a little scattered and disoriented, that's when you count on your go-to players, and that's right now La Fountain and Rhea for UConn, and then we got to look at Bella for JMU.
How big are these draws? You pointed out Madison, what they're good at is self-draws, which is what you need, obviously, in a spot like this. You got to win this one confidently.
And this is where it's still a 50-50 game.
Yep.
There is no advantage on the draw.
Bounces away back, and it'll belong to UConn, so here we go.
Please just run. Switch fields and run it into your offense. Do not pass. Just run. You can do this.
Duke's not pressuring the ball, obviously, being 2 women down. You go for the ball, you end up finding yourself in a spot where you're like 3 women down.
Yes. So there must have been something that caused the coach to kind of get a little animated and get that card, which, I don't think the officials have done a bad job today, but we're not down there on the field and don't see everything.
Skip pass, Davis can't come up with it. Able to go get it back, feeds it back inside, dangerous.
Wild times.
Don't look like a team that's 2 players up at the moment. Shot, that'll trickle through.
Oh my gosh, it just rolled in.
Knobloch. Boy, thought the save was there, but she just couldn't quite hold on to it, Bowden, and it gets over the line, and it's a 3-goal game. There's that magic number, Jesse.
We got there, and honestly, it could have gone either way because I think she missed this save because there were so many defenders in front of the cage. It could have been a shooting space. There were defenders running right in front of her that probably blocked her vision a little bit, enough for that ball to squeak in.
3rd of the day. How about this? Early in the quarter, it looked like Madison was finally just seizing control of this game. and saying there's going to be no path back in. But UConn has come back to life, and they still have 39 seconds more of being 2 women up.
So they want to keep this ball moving, keep it hot, keep taking those chances that they've been capitalizing on.
Got to start with the draw control. It's George back out there going up against Epke. And it'll be UConn ball.
Called the contact. I mean, there were a lot of girls going up for that 50-50 ball.
I have to apologize. I gave the goal to Knobloch. Knobloch, of course, plays for the other team. I am so sorry. Kate Schaefer scored the goal.
It's all good.
My brain is all over the place. I am so sorry. Kate Schaefer with the goal for UConn. One day I'll write the book about the story. And there's Kate Schaefer. She wants to get another one.
Shooting space.
So Schaefer will get the free position opportunity.
And that's tough. That underneath crease defender has a decision to make. It's either you go to don't go to ball and she scores, or you go to ball and you're in shooting space. It's really hard. That low to high slide is almost impossible to get out of.
Schaefer shoots high.
Defenders are so quick on JMU getting off the line.
Still time, 2 women up. Davis ducks underneath the first defender, but didn't have a path, backs it out. Again, inside, Schaefer hasn't knocked away, but the whistle first. And another free position chance.
So JMU is 2 women down. So therefore, you never want to double the ball, and that's what happened. They doubled the ball on that backside, and then the ball swung back around. You're going to be in shooting space on that opposite side every time.
Schaefer's last one was high. Can she convert here? Yes, shoots low and scores.
Shut them up. This is
back-to-back goals for Kate Schaefer, and all of a sudden, it's a 2-goal game with 6 minutes to play.
Wild times. Obviously, this is anybody's game. I mean, you might as well say it's a 0-0 game. If UConn can prevent these turnovers from happening, they could win.
3 goals in this 2 women up opportunity for UConn. Gets it back to a 2-goal game. Kate Schaefer is fired up, rightly so. 14-12, 5:52 remaining. There's only 4 seconds left on the penalties, so we're about to be back to even strength, but it's a brand new game at even strength.
Brand new, and let's talk about how JMU has one of their best players on the sideline for whatever reason, and that I feel like as soon as that happened, it was a huge deflating moment for JMU, and I don't think they've ever been the same since.
14-12. George and Epke again for the draw. All the momentum on the side of the Huskies. Much needed control for Madison. They get it back to even strength.
Another player's hurt, way off ball.
Oh, and it doesn't seem good. Oh. Boy, you don't want to speculate, but the reaction, and I believe that's Riley Brown. UConn players going to gather together to try to keep their spirit, as Riley Brown will be attended to. And that's great news. Boy. Riley Brown able to get back up and leave the... All right.
Oh, that's a...
Non-contact?
Yeah, well, it was... I don't think it is what you think it is.
Okay, all right.
But something definitely popped or snapped in there. But she was kind of by herself, so she didn't get hit. No contact, no, stick to the face. But it was interesting. She went down very quickly.
Riley Brown, graduate student midfielder from Moorestown, New Jersey. Big East All-Academic performer a year ago. Being helped off the field. Now, she tried to get back up under her own power. I don't know if we had the video of that. And looked like she was fired up and ready to go. And then she actually hit the turf again. So this time she was helped off the turf. As Jesse points out, hopefully not as bad as it appeared to be initially.
Sometimes it's very, strong strain or an Achilles, things like that. So, I mean, this would be her last year regardless, so you don't want to see those major injuries happen to anybody.
All right, 2-goal game. Madison now needing a response as they've been challenged. They had a 6-goal advantage here in the fourth quarter with a lot of time left. They're only up by 2. Maggie Clark feeds it back to the middle. That's the response of a champion.
Such patience. I mean, you saw the double come, but once you commit 2 girls to the ball, you actually have to go after the ball. Both defenders stopped and just stared at her as she passed and threaded the needle through them. So defensively, if you're going to commit 2 girls to the ball, then commit to it, because she was able to get her hands free, find the open girl, and that's an easy goal.
Clark to Josie Pell. Cool moment for a local girl. Josie Pell, the sophomore from Catonsville by way of Glenelg Country School. And I found out before the day that Josie Pell actually spent some time helping out here at USA Lacrosse.
Look
so
at that.
A neat moment for her as Josie Pell scores. The momentum swings back to James Madison. 3-goal game with 5:06 remaining. It's now all 3 games this season that Madison scored at least 15 goals. Said their offense so capable in so many ways.
It is. I think that's definitely the strength of their team. We talked about how they have a lot of newcomers defensively, and they do a good job. I mean, the goals against average is about 11. They're a little bit above that today, but their offense is their bread and butter, and they want possession, and they want their attackers to have the ball as much as possible. Defensively, they're kind of letting in a lot of goals. 12 goals for UConn isn't a little amount, and I think it's fouls, so you got to clean up, and then just scoring your possessions on the opposite end.
To your point, obviously everything changed here. There are 4 extra attacker goals, 2 extra attacker goals scored by UConn here in the fourth quarter. Huskies now got to score even strength, fed to the middle but into traffic, and that's another bad turnover.
I think at that point they were too open. The crease defender came out and the slide came to her, and then the girl in the middle was so open, had so much time. Sometimes you don't really know what to do with it with that much time.
Lizzie Piracino came away with the ground ball. Dukes, 4 minutes to play. They were challenged here in the fourth, but can they put this on ice? Piracino gets good shove. Seemed like she was asking about a call. Manella swings it back to the opposite side as James Madison will slow things down.
They're in no rush at all.
Now's the time. Now's the point of the game
on their side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still 38 seconds remaining on the possession clock, but a step and a shot from Clark that's wide. Guess when you get a look like that.
It was great. They've been scoring on that. Those alley dodges coming off the pick, they've been scoring on, so you might as well take your opportunity.
You get the reset. Some more time that you can run. You see Clark willing to slow this one down. Gives it off to Epke. 3 minutes remaining now. When does UConn have to start being more aggressive?
The hard part is once you extend and once you get bigger defensively, it gets easier to score at times. You know, you can only sustain that for so long. And 2 minutes and 46 seconds, you would hope that your defense could hold, but that's still a long time.
There's a good trail check in there. The ball comes free again, and White will get it. So they do defend out for the possession, come away with the ball, but it is must convert at this point.
Yes, and defensively, I honestly think the game plan for UConn is spot on. I think they did a great job of, you know, holding Bella to a couple goals. She's going to get her goals, but the worst part of their game has been in between the 30s and getting the ball safely down in transition. If they clean that up, they can obviously play with anybody.
Giardina gets inside, no whistle. Yeah, there is a whistle. So bring it back with 2:04 remaining. Opportunity for Giardina to get it back to a 2-goal game.
Uh-oh, this is a big 8. I'm not sure how many 8s they've let her shoot, so they might.
She did just convert the last one from 8. Remember, she had the shot that was high on the one previous. Giardina inside, waits to the last second, and delivers.
Oh, what a goal.
Giardina's got a hat trick, and it's a 2-goal game again with 2:01 remaining.
That's amazing. That's amazing, and UConn's in great position. I mean, you can't ask for a better second half game from them.
She waited till the absolute last second. Ducks underneath, pops her head back up.
And that's what an 8 meter is supposed to look like. You know, rare air up there when you can shoot from the 8 like Charlotte North. Really, you're supposed to get in, use your speed, use your body, find your angle, and move the goalie.
So 15-13, 2:01 to play. And if they can control the draw, this thing gets interesting again.
Agreed.
Turned out to be a lot of fun here today.
Well, I was talking to the coaches, the JMU coaches earlier, and honestly, beating Carolina, great, but it can be your kiss of death because you come into games with maybe a little too much confidence. Your team's like, oh, well, you know, we beat Carolina. What is this team going to do? They lost to Fairfield. And you can't stop that mentality. And I know me as a coach, I would have to make things up. You know, I'd make up a player. Yeah, you got to do the Michael Jordan thing. Like, you got to.
I heard someone said you guys weren't all that good.
Yeah,
I was just walking down the street today. And
exactly. You got to make up the enemy sometimes. And sometimes, honestly, games like this are really great for both teams. But it's teaching JMU a lesson that you think you can overlook somebody, you can't.
Okay, so I am wondering if this is a replay. We have not seen anything in replay, but I believe it's not a coach's challenge in the last 4 minutes, if I remember correctly. It just goes to, or is it stick check? Sorry, not a replay, a stick check.
So there's stick checks at the beginning of the game where they check the depth, and mostly just for depth, unless you're in NCAAs and they measure it at the beginning. But full stick check in the course of a game, they measure it. They measure the head to make sure the width is proper. They measure the length. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes sticks aren't legal. I mean, you go throughout a season and maybe your stick's been in the heat and it'll shrink a little bit. Or attackers love to have little tiny twigs for sticks. So they'll cut them to the minimums. And if I've seen a lot of games go different ways by this stick check. So they count the number of holes on the stick. So anything could happen. Don't think that they're all legal.
And big response from down on the field. Looks like the goal is good. And if it was a requested stick check that was good, it's going to be UConn ball.
I'm going to guess number 8. Did she score the goal?
19 scored the goal.
So they checked the stick of 8, thinking that because she took the draws, maybe her stick would be illegal.
Got it.
That was a chess match play.
Rhea Davis ducks underneath. No goal. No goal. Whistle before.
They probably called the shooting space before the shot was released.
So a free position. Rhea Davis today, it's been an adventure at the free position. She's got a cannon, an absolute rifle of a shot.
You are supposed to be able to count the goal on a shooting space, but if it happened early enough, it wouldn't
She
count.
chooses not to shoot immediately, instead drives and scores, and it's a 1-goal game.
And that's why Coach kept her on the field. You know, all those turnovers we had to go through earlier, this is where she kind of proves her worth on the 8.
Rhea Davis cuts it to 15-14 with her 3rd of the day, converting the free position. This game flipped on its head here in quarter number 4.
And guess what she didn't do?
Turn the ball over.
Yes, but shoot
fire,
from the 8.
Fire it from
because
outside.
when you need the goal, guess what? You get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Create a higher percentage shot. That's exactly what she did. Rhea Davis, big-time goal. Whew. 1:37 remaining. It's a 1-goal game. This is wild. Back to the draw.
I don't think anybody is in excitement for UConn coming in here and playing the number 3 team in the country like this.
Huge ground ball stepped through and picked up by Abby Barron. It was loose for a second. Madison had a chance to come away with it. Instead, UConn has the ball with a chance to tie. Who saw this coming? It was a 6-goal lead.
I'm telling you that sometimes that's the worst place to be because you kind of loosen up, you stop going as hard, you think you got it until you don't.
The Fountain moves it to the near side. Now she'll get it back. Schaefer back the other side, and a shot rifled in by Davis.
I think it hit the goalie in the helmet.
I thought so too.
Yeah, she might be seeing stars a little bit. Yeah.
Backup was there. Is that ricocheted off there? Good fake by Schaefer. And the Dukes survive that possession. Ground ball, tough ground ball. Held on to, 35 seconds left. UConn's going to have to dig in defensively. Comes away with it. LaFountain knocked down.
We're one big foul away.
There it is.
One big foul away.
Phew,
I think the officials are doing a great job. I mean, the ball's flying around. They're letting the players decide the game, but this is a huge 8-meter. Everybody knows it. After taking a huge bonk on the head from that last shot, let's see if she can come up with a huge save for her team.
25.9 seconds remaining. LaFountain to tie. No, what a save! What a save! Bowden, the game at stake, still time. Closing seconds. UConn's got to go. Davis to LaFountain. Steps through, shoots low, and another!
Huge save, huge save. Open, the double team came.
Madison survives. At the end of the game, Caitlin Bowden standing on her head. 2 unbelievable saves as James Madison improves to 3-0, holding on for a 15-14 victory. An unreal performance from a first-year starting goalie with the game on the line.
Unreal. She had a great day. I mean, if I'm the coaches, I'm super excited with her, and there's a bright future there.
We're going to take a look at this save combination one more time. In the scramble late, Davis, that was the one off the helmet. That was the first in the series. And Giardina, so that was Schaefer. It was a kick save. The free position for LaFountain. Bowden gets another one, and the backup was there. So in the scramble, there was one more opportunity late, and Bowden came up. So to the point, I said it was 2, really 4 late saves, all made by Caitlin Bowden to allow James Madison to hang on and win a wild one.
Yeah, and you can see UConn, they're not holding their heads. They're not sad because they know what they did today. They know what talent they have on the field and that they can play with anyone in the country, and they proved it today.
Second 1-goal win of the season for James Madison. They had a 6-goal lead, a dramatic comeback effort from UConn, but it comes up just short. Wow, this turned out to be an awful lot of fun, Jesse Morgan.
It was great.
Really appreciate everybody joining us today. I want to thank everyone who made our broadcast possible, including the sports information departments at both schools. Our entire crew, Chad leading the way back in the studio, and the crew here at USA Lacrosse. It was a heck of a fun game. 4 goals for Maddie Epke to lead the way for James Madison, 4 for Susan LaFountain for UConn. Stirring comeback, but Caitlin Bowden with huge saves late. As James Madison improves to 3-0 on the season, UConn drops to 0-2. For Jesse Morgan, I am Glenn Clark. Again, your final score, James Madison 15, UConn 14. This has been a presentation of USA Lacrosse.